So I wanted to jump on and talk about two topics today. One is relationships and the other is dating apps. Now, I wanted to talk about this because I feel like they're topics that are never spoken about. I feel like, especially when it comes to dating apps, people hide the fact that they're on dating apps, or they find it, so like an act of desperation. And yeah, I feel like, I just want to get that out in the open because we're all human. And you know what? If you want to get on a dating app, get on a dating app. But first of all, I want to cover the topic of relationships. I feel like we all put so much pressure on ourselves to have it all worked out, and I feel like the older generation, the way that it used to be is, you find your partner when you're in your early 20s, you get married young, you have children, you buy a house, and that's the way it goes. Life isn't done by a rule book, and I will say that I put so much pressure on myself to have it all worked out. And I am a relationship type person. I've had 2 relationships, both that were for a couple of years, and when I was 23, I wanted to just do life on my own. I wanted to be whole on my own and work out who I am, what I liked, and I wanted to achieve a lot on my own. They were my own personal goals. Fast forward 3 years and I'm like, holy shit, where the hell is he? And last year, I put so much pressure on myself to find somebody. And I think the worst thing that I did to myself was compare myself to other people. Compare myself to people that I know that were married in their early 20s, that have children, that have a husband now, and they have their house. And I was trying to rush the process. And last year, I feel like I made some really silly mistakes. And that's because I was trying to hurry up my journey. But that isn't the way that it works in life. And I really strongly believe now that I see things so much differently this year. And you will find your person when the time is right. And I've always embedded that into my head. And now it's probably the first time where I actually am just being patient for it. And I can understand now why the last 3 years I've been single, why it's had to go that way, because I've learned so much on my own and I've achieved so much. And I know for me, what I'm like as a person is I would not have felt fulfilled in my life if I hadn't gotten a house on my own, lived on my own, traveled around Europe with my friends. I had so many goals that I wanted to accomplish before I found a partner. And I know that looking back now, I have no regrets. So when I do find my person in life, that I will feel so achieved. I feel like I would kick myself if I looked back and I found someone 3 years ago and I'd never done what I always said that I was going to do. And I can't imagine if I never traveled with my friends. Like, I feel like when people say you need to live your 20s, you really need to live your 20s. You need to have a list of things that you want to do. And of course it's been hard at times. Of course I get sad. I wouldn't say that I'm lonely because I have so many friends and I have really created a life on my own that I wouldn't say that I'm lonely, but I would say that one day I really look forward to sharing a life with somebody and having that chapter, living together, getting married, having children. I cannot wait for that stage in my life. And when it ever happens, I feel like I'll be ready. So I feel like, if you're single and you put pressure on yourself, you can't compare yourself to others, because even growing up, now I look at the people that I used to compare myself to, we're actually totally different people. So that's why our lives are different. You can't compare your journey to anybody else's. We're different people. We have different personalities. Their partners have different personalities. Like, people are meant to meet when they're meant to meet. And that's something that I've learned with age. So if, and like, one thing I actually always feared was settling. I used to fear that so much that I would settle in a relationship and not be happy. And now I'm like in a stage where I couldn't settle if I wanted to, I don't think, because I know what I'm looking for, and I feel like they say when you meet someone you know, and I feel like that's going to be true for me. I'm going to know when I meet that person that they're right for me. So yeah, if you're somebody that compares yourself to other people, you really need to trust your journey and trust that if you can look at your life and you can say that all areas of your life, your work life, your personal life, all of those different categories are all like settled, achieved, you're where you want to be, and the next step for you is to find somebody, then okay. But really look and assess your life, because there are still things when I assess in my life that I need to achieve, especially in my career. I really want to have my business set up in such a way that it's running itself. And they're things that I have thought about, that I've realized that's why I haven't found somebody yet, because I need to focus all my time into my business. And so yeah, my point is just don't get so down on yourself. Don't compare yourself to other people, because we're all on different journeys. We're all at different stages in our lives. And if you are single, use that time to really work on you. Like, what are your toxic traits? Like, I've spent the last 3 years really working on becoming a better person, and learning how to be patient, learning how to understand other people, learning to be open-minded, learning to realize that there were things about me that I needed to fix that I wasn't happy with. And I probably wouldn't have fixed all these things had I have not, gone on dates with different people or not experienced life on my own. And I feel like so many people search for happiness in other people, but happiness comes from within. And if you're not happy inside, you'll never be happy with a person. So, and I feel like that's why people settle in relationships, because people fear to be alone. Like, it's not easy to be alone. Of course it's not. It's hard. It's hard to support the lifestyle you want to support. It's hard to put a roof over your head if you want to live alone, rather than share with housemates. Like, I refuse to share with housemates. Of course it gets lonely sometimes. And that's life though. If I hadn't have experienced all of these and felt alone and felt sad and felt like, I can't wait to experience that with a partner, then when I actually get it, how would I appreciate it? So now I know when I get to that next step, I'll really appreciate waking up next to somebody, or, planning a holiday with a partner, or getting a cuddle. No, I'm joking. Seriously. But nothing in life is perfect. If everything in life is perfect, how do we appreciate the good times? Life isn't meant to be easy, and that's where people go wrong. Like, we all put so much pressure on ourselves. Like, if our lives are perfect, how boring would that be? And, I can honestly say in the last 3 years, I have so many good stories that I can share and with my girlfriends and look back and laugh at. And if I was single last year and if I wasn't, and I didn't go to Europe, I caught up with at least 5 of my friends over there, and I had the best time of my entire life. So being single isn't always a bad thing. But yeah, to summarize, don't compare your life to other people's, because you're two totally different people. You have different goals. You have different, different goals. You're on a different path. You have different careers. Everything is different. And the worst thing you can do is compare. And I know now that I would not have felt fulfilled if I had not had spent the last 3 years on my own. And I can really understand why my life's gone that way. People used to always say to me, trust your journey and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh yeah, whatever. And now when I look back on my last 3 years, I can understand that, why it has had to go that way. So trust your journey. enjoy life, and you know, it will be probably the only time in your life that you'll ever be single again. So do the things that you want to do, achieve the things that you want to achieve, work on aspects of your life that you want to. Like, I found that when I was single, well, I am single, but I got caught up in going out a lot because I felt like obligated to go out and meet somebody. And I was going out all the time last year and drinking, and like, personally, I don't actually really like to drink at all. And I'm really into my fitness, but I was like, I thought like, oh, I'm not putting myself out there enough, so I need to do that. And then I was like feeling shit after going out, and it was just like a domino effect, and just like a repetitive cycle. And then like another year went by, and I was like, I'm just not happy. So I was like, I have to find something that I enjoy. And that's when I took up boxing, and that's when I was training to have my fight. And that is what I spent my spare time doing, and that's when I really fell in love with the sport, because like, I only ever did it for fitness. So when I actually did it as a sport, I found what I truly love to do. And if I wasn't single, I wouldn't have found that. So find things that you like to do, find a hobby. And now I've actually stopped putting the pressure on finding somebody, because all my free time was taken up. So yeah, learn to love yourself. Learn to accept things about you, and find things that you like to do. Like, from being single, I've really learned to be whole as a person. Like, I feel like, I'll be honest, when I was younger, I had I had insecurities. Like, we all have insecurities. And I've now learned to love who I am as a person, love the way that I look, and love the things that I stand for. And like, there was a stage in my life where I had been with somebody, and I felt like I had been really torn down, and I had all these insecurities about me. And if I hadn't experienced being single for so long, I wouldn't have learned to kill those insecurities on my own. And now I know, when I do meet somebody, I won't deflect all my previous problems and thoughts onto somebody else and ruin potentially a great relationship. So that's been so positive. Like, I've really learned to love me and be happy with me. And I think that is so crucial. And when I have a relationship in the future, I know that it will be the right one. It won't be a toxic one, because I won't bring any toxic traits into it. So I think we all need to take time to assess who we are and realize that, hey, we've got some toxic traits, or we've had experiences that have made us insecure, and you know, we don't need to take them out on other people. Like, we all have gone through relationships, but just because one person's been like that doesn't mean the next person is. So you can't punish somebody for their past, and you can't punish somebody for having an ex, or you know, because if you do that, you will ruin a relationship. So learning all these things comes with age and maturity, and being alone, and just working out who you want to be. So having this time to myself to work out who I want to be and how I want my future relationship has been the best thing for me, because when I meet somebody in the future, I wouldn't date to waste time. Like, I would date with a purpose. You know, I could potentially see a future, and yeah, you want to be your best self to allow them to be their best selves, you know. So being single isn't a bad thing. You can work on you and not ruin something good.